and Sammy are very different, aren't they?
They are. They are real different, and sometimes they don't quite get along.
But they're so much alike.
They are. They're both canines. They have 4 legs. They are pretty much alike.
They're both smart. They're both lovable.
They are. They are. And I think that's probably what hurts them, is that they are more alike than different.
Just like people, right?
That's true. Yep.
I mean, when I went back to school 14 years ago to become a teacher, we live in a very diverse area, don't we?
Yes, exactly.
So they know everybody has biases that are in you that you're not even aware of. So they told us when we started teaching to draw a line on the floor and ask the kids who drinks Coke and see who comes up, right? Kids of all backgrounds will come up and say they drink Coke, right?
That's right. So you have to realize that we are all mostly alike. I mean, everybody puts on their pants one leg at a time. Everybody puts on a shirt one arm at a time. I mean, pretty much we're the same.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%, but we focus on the differences more than how we're the same, don't we?
That's right, we do. Differences definitely stand out.
Now looking at J.D. Vance and Kamala Harris, they seem to have more things alike than they do differences. I mean, their core values, right?
Right, they have more things alike than difference. Their core values are basically the same.
Well, one of Kamala's memes has been, you didn't fall from a coconut tree, and so I didn't really know what that went back to. Did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't really know what that meant.
So that was her mother, who grew up in India where coconut trees were very big, and she would say that to her daughters when she thought young people did not see the connection between the generations, as we often see that with our children, that they don't see the connection. So she's saying that you are not an island, you are not alone, you are connected to your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, that all of these people made you who you are.
You're definitely unique in some ways, and in some ways you're not.
But you're a part of all of your ancestors. It's kind of like the Americans would say the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. That's saying that you're very similar to your parents or grandparents, right?
That's right.
So it's an Indian saying, I believe, from what I researched. It's something that maybe not the same, but the idea goes back to India. Now, let's look at J.D. Vance.
Right.
What did he do?
J.D. Vance wrote the book Hillbilly Elegy.
And he's looking at his ancestors. A lot of people are claiming he's not a hillbilly because he grew up in Ohio. But his ancestors grew up in Kentucky. So like Kamala is looking at her ancestors, he is looking at his ancestors as well.
Right, exactly.
And that's how we made a video on our grandparents recently and how they are tied to our grandson.
Yes, and again, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
I never knew my grandparents. Steve knew his somewhat. But it's interesting to see how our grandson is like my father, who I knew very well, who he never knew, his great-grandfather.
Right.
And so we are very family-oriented and connected to our family and our ancestors.
That's true.
So that is a big way that Kamala and J.D. Harris have something in common. They're both very family-focused.
That's true, and that runs deep.
So while we're always looking at differences in people, let's look at similarities and how we are alike. Right?
That's true, and it helps people get along.
The fact that multi-races are the fastest growing race shows that we are interacting with different backgrounds, and we are marrying and having children.
Having children, yeah.
So that's good. That means we are getting to know different races and accepting them, right?
That's true.
Change is a fact of life, right?
It is a fact of life, and we have to accept it and embrace it and thrive on it.
That's right. I know as you age, you may be reluctant to accept change in your life, but it's not going backwards, is it? It's not, right? Since they changed immigration law in 1965, that's when the immigration policies changed and the population of America followed.
Right, that's true. That's true, and that's not going to change or go back.
No, we can't go back. We can't turn back the clock. So, again, when we look at people, Let's embrace how we're the same instead of fighting all the time over our differences.
That's very true. We're more divided in this country than ever.
But we don't need to be.
No. We're all Americans. We all need to get along. We all embrace and salute the flag, and that's important. And we can't forget our forefathers who fought in wars so that we could have this freedom.
That's right. I think sometimes we do forget. We are all Americans. We are all on the same team.
That's true. And we have to keep that in mind as we go into this election.
Until we see you again.
Take it easy.